Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to take a quick minute today and go over the top 5 questions I get asked constantly about this 2002 Jeep Wrangler TJ behind me. These are no consecutive order. There's no really more question than the other. I just thought it would be kind of fun to go over the top 5 questions that I get asked constantly on social media, YouTube here, in public at shows and such. Basically, I've compiled the top 5 that I get asked all the time. And if you see me out in public and you have a question about my Jeep, ask away. I don't mind at all answering these questions, but I figured this would be a good place to send everybody when they have a question that I can answer it real quick with this YouTube video. So let's get right to it. First question, and that would be, what seats are in this Jeep here behind me? Now, this is a 2002 Jeep Wrangler, and it's what they call the TJ, if you aren't familiar with that. And this was the Apex Edition. Now, the Apex Edition is really nothing that special other than you get special seats, you get a special decal that goes on the bubble part of the hood. It was like some lines that went across there and said Apex across it, and you had some maybe chrome wheels. Basically, it was like an X package. It was nothing really fancy. It would have come with probably a Dana 35 rear end, like 307 gears. It wasn't that great of a package. I don't even really know the history behind it, to be completely honest with you. But with that package, you get these really cool cognac pleather seats. They're like a plastic leather, cognac color, like a brownish, reddish brown leather. It's a really cool, different seat. It was the only year they offered it for the TJ run, and these seats are they're really cool. I never thought that they would be such a conversation piece. It's kind of comical how many people ask about these seats. It's pretty wild. Now, number 2, I would say, would be, what lift kit do I have on this Jeep? And that is not really a straightforward answer. It equals to about, I would say, like 4.5 inches of lift, but that is where it stands. But it's not a kit. It's been kind of Frankenstein pieced together. So in the front, I have 4-inch rough country coil springs, and there are, on top of those, I have stacked 3/4-inch polyurethane. I don't know what they really were. I think they're Daystar polyurethane spacers. So about 4 3/4 in the front, which was sagging and such. I would probably say it's about 4.5 inches of lift. Now, the rear end in this Jeep is a Ford 8.8, and whoever, I did not do the work, they trussed it and they put relocation brackets and moved the coils from, if you know coils and the TJs, they went up into the frame on an angle. They relocated these with some Artec buckets, and they moved them back so they're basically vertical with the frame. With all that being done, whoever basically built the rear axle to fit this TJ, and with all that bracketry, I have to run 3-inch coils, and that basically gives me, as it sits, even with 4-inch coils in the front and 3/4-inch spacers and 3-inch springs in the back, I have 3/4 of an inch of rake as it sits right now. It's pretty level. It actually sits pretty nice. And then for shocks, the whole way around, I have Bilstein 5100s the whole way around. They're not a cheap shock. They're not the most expensive you can buy. However, they are probably one of the best riding and most comfortable shocks on the market. So there you have it. 4-inch coils in the front with a 3/4-inch spacer by Rough Country. They are TerraFlex 3-inch coils in the rear with the bracing and the shock and spring relocations, and equals to about 4 3/4 inch of lift with Bilstein 5100s the whole way around. I do have adjustable track bars front and rear. I don't have relocation brackets for that. I actually have adjustable track bars to correct all the geometry, and it is a heavy-duty steering setup in the front as well. Now, number 3, hopefully you can hear me, the wind's picking up, but the wheels and tires. When I first put this Jeep on the channel and introduced it to all of you a little over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, we went and put 33 by 1050s on this thing. I got them from Desert Rat as a package, and they wrapped themselves around these wheels right here. They're like the classic 8-hole Classic 2s by Mickey Thompson. ProComp sells them, but these are actually Desert Rat's Tracker 3. I think that's what they're called. They're 15 by 8 on, I believe, 3 3/4-inch back spacing. They're a really nice wheel. The center caps are a little different. I have a video on that as well. I kind of changed them up. However, these are not the tires that I had originally got from Desert Rat. I bumped them up to a 35 by 1250. So I went same wheels, but I got different tires. That's a story in of itself, how I got these 35 by 1250s. Kind of did a swap-aroo with a gentleman. They were braced basically like brand new. They had like maybe 250 miles on when I got them. So basically the wheels are 15 by 8 Desert Rat Tracker 3, 3 3/4-inch back spacing on 35 by 1250, 15, BF Goodrich KM3 mud terrains. These are by far my favorite tire. I ran them on my CJ3B, my CJ5 right here. As you can see, they're actually in that picture. They are by far my favorite tire. They wear really well on the road. They don't make a whole lot of noise on the road. They're very smooth, and they just look freaking awesome. they're one of my favorite tires on the market right now. I know there's a lot of different opinions on that, but they're a very, very, very nice tire. So yeah, that answers that. 35s on the Jeep as it sits. So if you want to see what about a 4-inch lift on 35s looks like, that's it right behind me. Oh, and the flares, they're Rubicon flares or Sahara, whatever you want to say it. They're factory flares. They're actually Mopar flares off of Rubicon that I rehabbed and repainted. So there you go. All right, number 4. Now, this is the most recent thing, and if you've been following the channel at all, you'll know exactly what this is. But what is the engine in this Jeep behind me? And what's the story of the 4.7-liter HO badge on the side? Now, I made that badge with my Cricut. The sky's the limit on what you can make with die-cut vinyl when you have a Cricut, and it's a lot of fun. But the 4.7 in this Jeep, there is a 4.7 in this Jeep, and you guys probably all know that, but it is a 4.7-liter stroker that was built by S&J Engines out of Spokane, Washington. I bought it as a long block, and you can go back and watch the videos on that. I encourage you to go back. I think I did like 4 or 5 parts. Had a buddy, Rick, Jeep Doc. Go check him out on YouTube, Jeep Talk TV. He came up and helped me stab the new engine in, but what came out of it was a 4.0. And that's what came in this Jeep when it first was born and first made. It was a 4.0 with the NV3550 5-speed manual transmission. Now, the 4.0, this Jeep has about 195,000 miles on it. It has 196 right now, but when I pulled the engine, it was 195,000 miles. Now, engine looked like it was never really opened up, never really worked on, and it was piston slapping pretty bad. Wasn't rod knock, and it didn't smoke. It had good oil pressure. It actually ran really well. It just made a lot of noise. And I have little boys, and we go, trail riding, and we want to go out to like local parks and stuff here in Pennsylvania, local trails. And I would hate to be about an hour and a half from home and have it blow a piston skirt in this Jeep. And I didn't want that unreliability and that in the back of my mind being stuck somewhere stranded with a broke down engine. So we went ahead, ordered a long block from S&J. Took a little longer to produce it, and that's okay. Production takes a little while, especially at today's age. They got it to me, and I put it in. It's been good to me so far. It has about 800 miles on it right now, and knock on wood, I haven't had any issues. Broke it in the way they prefer. Again, go back and watch those videos, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But as far as power, and would I do it over again for price point? Absolutely. Now, backstory on the stroker. I've wanted to do a stroker since I was probably 15 or 16 years old. And they were first coming on the scene, and they were super popular. There's also the myths that they only last like 10,000 miles. That's garbage. After how many years of people having strokers, if they're built correctly and balanced correctly, which this one is balanced and everything, they're going to last just as long as the 4.0. Just as long as the 4.0. The only downside is you got to run premium fuel. That kind of stinks, especially with fuel prices the way they are. But that far is outweighed by the power performance gain. Now, I mean, I don't know exactly how much power I have in this thing, but I can tell you, on 35s with 410 gears, I have no desire to re-gear right now. It pulls hills in 5th gear, no problem. I can accelerate up hills in 5th gear, no problem. The down low torque is just incredible. Plus the sound is just pretty stinking cool. Now the cost on this thing, I don't want to quote numbers for S&J because I'm sure since I got this built, this was built in January of 22, cost is going up, I'm sure, just like everybody else's is going up. So I don't really want to quote numbers on their engine. Go to their website for yourself and check it out, their pricing, and talk to Ryan. Link was my salesman. Check him out. Great guy, very knowledgeable. But I paid all in all with the long block, all the accessories. I put all new accessories on this thing when I got it. There was no point in reusing my old serpentine belts, my water pumps, thermostats, etc. I got a new oil pan, all that stuff. I put all new stuff on, new clutch kit, flywheel, all new fasteners. I figured now's the time to do it. I am probably in it about $5,500. I didn't actually like nail down number-wise exact, but I'd say probably between $5,500 and $6,000 on the high end of an estimate of what it costs to put that in there. That was not including any labor. That was all my time. Now the engine was, the hard part was built. 90% of it was built. I had to put the accessories on and the covers and everything, and then actually made it up to the transmission. But yeah, that's about where it stands. I'd say about $5,500 is a fair estimate of where we're at. I could tally it up and actually calculate it. I have all the receipts and everything, but I don't have any desire to do that. All right, and then the last question is the knowledge that I have for these Jeeps. Now, where in the world did a guy like me, who's an electrician by trade, how did you find out about all these vehicles, and how do you know what you're talking about? Well, first of all, I'm not a mechanic, and this YouTube channel was never intended to be a how-to channel and tit for tat. This is just for entertainment purposes only. However, I've been reading about these things since before the internet was invented. That might be a little bit of a stretch. I'm not that old. But I have been reading about these things in magazines and booklets and watching, VHS videos of Ultimate Adventure when I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. So I pretty much have been into vehicles and into Jeeps as long as I can remember. I'm in my early 30s now, and it's basically who I am. I don't know how else to say it. And the knowledge I have, I would say, comes from just not being a know-it-all. It does not hurt to ask people questions. You don't want to, now I will say this, you don't want to rob people's knowledge. Don't be one of those people that goes to others and steals their knowledge and steals their wisdom from them. But it's a good thing to glean from people if you can. A good way to learn as a young person is to glean as much knowledge as you can from people and work your butt off. Work your butt off, get out there and try things. That's how you're going to learn, by trial and error. That's how I learn. Basically, asking people questions, not being too prideful to ask questions, and just trying it. I mean, there's a lot of times I step out of my comfort zone and I go, well, that didn't work, or hey, that was pretty cool. That really did work. And that's how I want to teach my boys and my kids that it's okay to fail. It's okay to try. It's not okay to sit back on your haunches and just let everybody pass you by and not try anything and be scared of trying, because if you're not failing, then you're not trying. So how did I learn all that I know? Well, I have a long way to go. I have a lot to learn yet, but I basically learn a lot just by not being ignorant, by asking questions, and by doing a lot of research. Online forums, they're hit or miss, but there's a lot of good information in them, a lot of good information, a lot of great people in the Jeep community that are willing to lend a hand and help you on the interwebs. Pick up a magazine, read a magazine, and there's a ton, even more than what I had as a kid, information at your fingertips with how-to, with Motor Trend, with Classic TV, everything. There's just so much at your fingertips now. It's pretty incredible what you can learn just from the internet. All right, everybody, there's the top 5 questions. I hope you found this video fun and entertaining. What seats are in the Jeep, lift, wheels, tires, engine, and the knowledge I have, or lack thereof. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. God bless, and we'll see you next time.